Hello everyone and welcome back to me, Shiva, and my channel Burganips464, which is about, well, whatever it's about at the time. How are you doing? So today I wanted to come and talk to you about capes and me wearing capes. Now it might sound a bit strange, but it was a bit strange because I had psychosis at the time, and if you don't know about psychosis, it's a mental health disorder that brings about things like delusions and hallucinations and strange behavior, and sometimes even aggression and occasionally violence as well. So just taking it back to the cape idea. So capes, I guess you could say, were one of my delusions. So I believed that I had superpowers, and one of the ways to get these superpowers was to activate them, kind of thing, was to wear a cape. So it started off with like I was in Hounslow, which is a London borough, and I was staying there in temporary accommodation from the council because I was living in Slough, but I got beaten up by some twerp who was like a drug dealer in the previous accommodation, so I got moved to this new accommodation in Hounslow. Now I had some of my stuff left over from the previous place, but I kept like losing stuff. Anyway, one of the things that I kept was this kind of mandala sheet. It was all white with these patterns of mandalas in the center, and it would radiate out like a flower of mandala. And I was like, wow, this has got a lot of good powers in it, you know. It's got mandala powers, it's got energies in it, it's nice and bright and white. It was kind of white with golden design on it. And I was like, yeah, this is fantastic. What I'm going to do is tie it around my neck and wear it as a cape. So I went out and about into town of Hounslow wearing this cape, right? And the great thing about it was it would billow out behind me, like pick up the rays of the sun. That would energize the mandala, which would then in turn activate my superpowers. And what superpowers do you think I was going to get out of wearing a cape exactly? Well, it's obviously the number one superpower, flight. So I believed it could help me to fly, right? Now, I didn't actually fly, but the way I perceived life at the time was very kind of front focused. So if I couldn't see anything behind me, I could just imagine what was behind me. So what I would do was walk really fast. I was a very fast walker at the time. I used to walk from town to town, like miles and miles of walking while homeless and in the throes of psychosis. And I believed I had to go from town to town to do special spiritual rites to kind of make each town sacred as I went there. And there were other things that I was supposed to do as well while I was on these missions going from town to town. But one of them was to like make it sacred. Anyway, back to the cape idea. So I had this cape on, and the way it gave me flight was, like I said, I was walking really fast and the cape would billow out behind me, and I could kind of imagine that I was flying with the cape billowing out behind me. I was walking so fast I could barely feel my legs, so it felt like I was flying. So as long as I could generate the feeling of flying, like whooshing wind past my hair, the cape billowing out in the background, you know, that was flying to me. So I also tried it by jumping over various walls and things, and when the cape would like fly out behind me afterwards, I would see that as a sign of flight having been accomplished. After jumping over a wall, the cape flies out behind me, therefore I just flew over the wall. So that's kind of the way that I was thinking at the time. It was very delusional, of course, but it was quite enjoyable nonetheless. So I went round lots of different places in London and picked up capes that I found lying around in dumpsters or on the floor or wherever, I don't know. And one of these times I found this giant, like a bit like a rug, but it was a rug blanket thing with a giant lion's head face on it. And it was massive, like proper big carpet style rug blanket thing. And I was like, yeah, this is fantastic. What a regal cape to wear. So I tied it around my neck, had this massive fucking billowy thing, and it was really heavy, and it made me feel like some kind of king. That one didn't really help me fly so much because it was quite heavy, but yeah. So there's a little bit of a story about me wearing capes. And the final bit was another time, just to prove that I could fly with this cape, I jumped on top of a bin, one of these Slough Borough Council bins. I was back in Langley in Slough area, and there were some people around who knew me, in fact, and they were all like sniggering, hey, look at this guy on top of a bin wearing a cape. And so they got their phones out and recorded me. Now, I don't have the clip available, unfortunately. It seems to have disappeared into the internet somewhere. But I basically just jumped off the bin and then went rushing around the village thinking I was flying. So there you go. That is literally the end of the story. So thanks very much for watching. I've been Cape Man Shiva Wilson with Burger Nips 464. I'll catch you on the next one. See you later. Good night.